morning, everyone. My name's Rebecca Travers. I am the Sponsorship and Events Manager for Master Electricians. Today, I'm joined by Dave Burt from Team Cabling, who are based in Auckland, but have 120 employees based all around the country. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dave.
My pleasure.
Can you tell me, over the last couple of weeks, what has it looked like for you? What have been the positives and negatives?
I guess we started like everyone else, which was scrambling. We didn't really know, when we were going to be locked down and what we had to do that. And so from the initial, getting over the initial shock of what happened, I guess there was a pretty good sense of team came out. Probably like most other businesses, we connected via WhatsApp. Also, one of the other things we used is we split up the numbers around the country with my other business partners and contacted everyone. It was really, really good to sort of like coping with that. So the other positives were that strategies were doing sort of get to the test around. Working remotely. Also like planning for a recession, which is no doubt we're going to be into at some stage in the future. So testing those was, I guess in some ways, all a positive. And I guess the negative for me has been that isolation, I guess. Certainly, like most people, I think, pining to get back into that work environment and getting back into the way we used to do things, but that may take some months to come to fruition, I guess.
Yeah, I can understand that. Definitely missing the human contact side of things very much. So what do you think has been your biggest challenge?
I think probably like with most people, it's just general uncertainty. And I know when initially the government had sort of said, oh, we're going to be giving a subsidy to employers, but it was capped at 150,000. That meant a whole different outcome for our business and how we're going to react to it. And so I guess the uncertainty part of it has been pretty challenging. I guess when they did, the government did put out that information as to what they would be providing. That removed a lot of that, but certainly it would have been the uncertainty. So.
Yeah. So you talk about the wage subsidy. Did Team Cabling apply for that? And what did you find the process like?
Yeah, we did. What we did first off is we waited until when the government had lifted that cap, and one of my business partners, he was running a reasonably complex spreadsheet and looking at all the different options and permutations based on what we would get, how it would affect our cash flow, what we as a business would be prepared to sort of tip into to keep our staff, close to their normal wages. And I think that being able to utilise that sort of gave us also a degree of certainty. When we did make a decision that we were going to pay 80%, we could sort of project outwards and sort of see what it was going to have an effect on Team Cabling as a business cash-wise. So once you get that out of your head, well, it's just a matter of getting on with it.
True.
Also, I have to say, the actual process for applying for it, I was somewhat amazed how relatively straightforward it was. I didn't do the actual application myself, but it was relatively straightforward. And for some of the businesses, the money was there 2 days later. I was just so impressed that we had back office systems to be able to achieve something like that on such a great scale.
Yeah, that's the story that I've been hearing from a few people, and it's pretty positive thing for businesses around the country to have access to that so quickly. So what does working from home mean for your business? What have you asked your employees to do, and what kind of tech are you using to keep on top of your business?
We'd been using Zoom previously. We're engineers as well, and we sit on some design committees, and we had been using that the Zoom product, but really being able to carry on with that. I'd probably meet with my business partners or at least every second day, and then we would have wider team meetings utilising the Zoom. We have really two classes, really, those who work in the office and can carry on to a degree. We've got some people within the business are basically working full-time pricing projects, and our engineering drafting team, they're working full on. So they're busy. The rest of us, the rest of the people, the techs, effectively, they're sitting at home, basically just waiting for something to happen. So.
Okay. Did you look at any opportunities for them to upskill? How are you communicating with your employees that aren't actually working at the moment?
Via phone. Like, we did a ring around just to make sure everyone was all okay. I mean, I think email and WhatsApp or texting, you don't really get a feeling for how people are actually dealing and coping with this. Whereas you have a phone call, you sort of do get a good feeling. And I mean, as a result of that, we certainly had one employee who we were able to sort of wrap some extra support around. I don't think we would have got that just by email or whatever. So I think it is very important to understand some people will be struggling, be it financially or even the living situations they're in probably could be less than desirable. So yeah, we certainly want to make sure those people are coping okay and have the support they need.
Yeah, no, and that's very true, I think, of a lot of people, and it's fantastic that you're able to provide that support for those that need it. So in terms of your clients, I suppose it is a little bit of business as usual, just in a different environment. You'd still be keeping in contact with them as you would have before, just no face-to-face meetings.
Yeah, I suppose we do. We've got several clients who we do a substantial amount of work for. Some of them we've had Zoom meetings with. That was on their request, and it was interesting. You know, we're always concerned to think, oh, are our clients going to carry on business as usual? What is it going to mean for future work? They were equally keen to just check in and say, hey, how's Team Cabling doing? How is this affecting you? Are you guys going to be in a strong position to carry on at the end of it? We're pleased to say we are, but it's interesting to get that two-way sort of feedback. You know, it's not just us worrying, it's them worrying about us.
Yeah, I think this has brought out a lot of kindness in New Zealand as well, where we're a lot more aware, I think, socially of each other, not just as individuals, but as businesses. And I don't believe that it comes from a place of, oh, have we made the right choice in terms of the company we're with? It's actually from a genuine concern for that company and how it will fare. Yeah,
that's absolutely correct. And I've been ringing around some of our suppliers, some of the people who, sort of like peers, industry peers I've got to know through master electricians, and sort of see how they're getting on. And it's a very, very similar story, actually, the way that those businesses have reacted and what they've done to support their staff. It's impressive.
So we're looking at coming out of this. The announcement will be made next week as to what the next step for New Zealand will be. What are you doing in terms of planning for that next step and the future? What do you need as a business to hit the ground running?
Again, certainty. The government has not actually said fully what level 3 is going to look like. You can go onto their website, you get a pretty good indication. To that end, we're looking at producing a task analysis that will sort of sit across all our other TAs, that really just caters for that extra part of how do we keep each other safe, maintain the distance, what PPE do we need, what work practices do we need. So those documents are getting drawn up at the moment as provisional. And we've been talking to some of our customers who we know are very, very keen to get going on site again, and having that discussion about how are you going to run the site in a means that we can actually keep safe and not just pay lip service to it. So fair to say some of them are very, very advanced on their planning. Others haven't even thought about it. And we're going to be having to make those calls as to whether we let staff go on those sites or if they're not run professionally and safely, how do we remove those staff to look after them, yet not damage relationships. So I think there's a fair bit of work going to that, and a fair bit of discussion going into that at the moment. And we sort of took the view that we may just have to lead some clients on with regard to processes. So we're in the process of doing that now.
So it's certainly a balancing act to
yeah, for sure.
work out what is going to keep everyone safe and maintain those relationships. Yeah. So finally, last question, what is something that you have been grateful for or has made you laugh over this lockdown period?
I think some of the Zoom meetings have been, you kind of get good at them after a while, like particularly when you're in big ones, you know, everyone sort of goes on mute. You can see someone unmuting when they want to say something. But some of the well-timed comments that come in on those meetings has been pretty good. I have to say, being stuck at home with my wife, 2 grown children and their partners has been pretty entertaining, and we've been very lucky to have a very fun, cohesive house. I guess it's kind of life as usual in a lot of respects, even though that sounds weird, but I don't know, you just adapt your day a little bit and get on with it. And a big part of that is obviously having fun and having a laugh. Certainly like we do in the office, that's for real.
Yeah, we've found a new normal, I think, and we'll have to redo that again a few times over the coming months.
Yeah, well, I hope we don't go into lockdown again. My great hope is that we don't go too early and then have to relive what we're reliving now. I think that'd be a great tragedy, but and it'd be very tough for businesses. I think financially that would be very tough.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for your time, Dave. That's been very useful and insightful. We have another couple of interviews coming up, and we'll see those on our website soon.